Hello and welcome once again to Smart Move to UK channel, where we discuss immigration policies, immigration requirements, updates, case studies and whatnot under for UK immigration and nationality laws. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss something very different. Today, let's get into what is sponsorship license. I think there's a lot of curiosity around this particular subject. I've come across many clients who would want to know what is sponsorship license. So sponsorship license is a permission that has been granted by the Home Office to a UK-based company to allow foreign nationals to live and work in the UK. So who can apply for a UK sponsorship license? Any UK-based company can apply for a UK sponsorship license. It could be business, it could be charity organization, it could be an educational institute, it could be a religious institute. They can apply for a sponsorship license. Now, when they apply for a sponsorship license, what is important to note is that they will be able to fulfill their duties as a sponsors. They are a legal and legitimate business in the UK, and these companies are qualified enough to do an application for a sponsorship license. So what are the responsibilities of the UK employer when they apply for a sponsorship license? As a UK sponsor license holder, the company has certain responsibilities. Let's run through with them. First, assigning a key personnel known as authorizing officer who will oversee the sponsorship management. Number 2, appointing a level 1 user who will be responsible for day-to-day management of sponsorship system. Number 3, complying with all sponsor duties, including record keeping, reporting changes, and ensuring sponsored employees meet the necessary requirements. Number 4, cooperating with Home Office compliance visits. What are the eligibility criteria to apply for a UK sponsorship license? The eligibility criteria to apply for UK sponsorship license, the first one is that your business is a legitimate business in the UK. The next one would be is that you have compliances in place, you understand the immigration laws, and also you understand clearly the sponsorship duties that you have to fulfill as a license holder. The third requirement is that you have a proper HR system in place where there is a proper recording of leaves and your time in and time out of your employees, etc. And lastly, but most important, is that you have an insight of all the HR expertise that is required, which works hand in hand with the immigration rules for sponsorship license and for the employees who has entered the UK, and somebody who is competent enough to respond to the queries raised by the Home Office with regards to your sponsorship license. I think from the company's perspective, they're always very keen to know how long is it going to take for us to get that sponsorship license. So to get the sponsorship license after you have filed in your application takes you about 8 to 12 weeks to hear from the Home Office whether you've been granted as a sponsor or not. But it may vary depending upon the complexity of your case, depending whether if you've given them the necessary documents or not. Whilst on the other hand, there may be instances where you would be pleasantly surprised to receive the sponsorship licenses much before the time if you have been meticulous in terms of giving all the required information and the supporting documents required to the assessing officer to come up with a favorable outcome for you quickly. The next very important thing that you need to know is the validity of this sponsorship license. So once you've been granted the sponsorship license, you must know how long is this been valid for. So the validity of sponsorship license is for a period of 4 years. However, you have to be careful that during this tenure you have to abide by all the rules. You need to do your sponsorship duties well, because not doing this has an effect on your license holding, which may result into penalties, it may result into downgrading, your sponsorship license, including revocation of your license. Yes, you heard me right. The Home Office has powers to even revoke the license that's been granted to you if you have not complied with the duties of a license holder. There's a lot of also confusion to say, I'm not a very big organization, or I don't fall under the definition of a large organization or a mid-sized organization. My business is small. Can a small business apply for a sponsorship license? Absolutely, yes. A small business can also apply for a sponsorship license. The only thing you have to note here, which is very important, is that you're able to fulfill the sponsorship duties. It doesn't matter with the size of the organization or the turnover. What is important is that you have a right infrastructure to meet with all the sponsorship compliances that you have to go through with. What are the consequences for non-compliances of the sponsorship duties? Well, you must know that the Home Office has rights to make a visit, do an assessment, raise queries, and ask for justification, or just check whether you're meeting the obligations or not. And in the event, if there is any failure, there are severe consequences of this failure. The consequences can include penalty. It could be revocation of your license or suspension of your license. So be very mindful. Keep checking and keep yourself updated with the rules and comply with all the obligation that is required to be fulfilled under the sponsorship duties. Can a sponsorship license be transferred to another entity? No, a sponsorship license cannot be transferred to another entity. Any change in the shareholding pattern or any change in the way the company is being structured, you have to apply for a new sponsorship license. The existing sponsorship license can never be transferred to another entity. Can I use my magic wand to expedite my sponsorship license? That would have been fantastic if I can use magical powers to expedite the sponsorship license. But unfortunately, in the real world, we need documentation, compliances, and a bit of a patience to navigate through the sponsorship license process. But hey, we can always dream, right?